Welcome. In this video, I'm going to walk through using Snagit 2018 how to set up a capture preset that will copy our capture to the clipboard, will not open it in the editor to preview, and will not save it in our library. Let me give a little bit of explanation, kind of how all this comes together. What we'll be doing is when we make a capture with this preset, it will save it to the clipboard. The editor will not open for us to preview it, but it will also save it to a folder. And in that folder, we'll be able to delete the file, which will also delete it from our library. That's kind of the gist of how it all comes together. So I'm going to show you how to set up the preset to make that happen, and then I'll also show you how that we can have that file in a folder automatically deleted for us. Okay, the first thing we need to do is set up a couple folders. I have this on my desk. I have a folder on my desktop here, and you can put this folder anywhere you like, because basically once we set this up, you should not ever have to go to this folder. So if you don't want another folder on your desktop, you can save this folder anywhere you want. In this case, I have it on my desktop for this walkthrough. But create a folder and name it whatever you like. I've named this one Capture Delete. And inside of that folder, we want to create a subfolder, and you can name it whatever you want. And this will be an empty subfolder. Okay, and in this case, I've named this one Delete. So we have two folders. We have our main folder, and inside of that main folder is this empty folder. In other words, a subfolder. Okay, once we have that set up, we will create our preset. So open up your preset manager and go to the little plus sign here, and we want to create a new preset. Now I've already done that, created this preset, so I'm just going to work with the one I've already created and go to edit. But when you click new preset, you'll get this window here. We're going to be dealing with image, so make sure the image tab is selected. The type of selection, how you want to make your selection, I'm just making mine by region, so I can basically draw out or select what I want to capture. I have the preview and editor off, the copy to clipboard on. The capture cursor is your option. You can have it or not. In this case, I'm not using it. And I have any time delay turned off. Then under the share here, we're going to click the down arrow in the field and select File. Once you've done that, click the little gear that's next to it here. And we're going to set the image file type to the snag capture file. We're going to select fixed file name, and I'm just going to leave this default. This name does not matter, so you don't need to bother changing it, because we're not going to use any file that has this name. And your capture that you've saved to the clipboard, you're obviously pasting it into something else, so the name of this file is really not going to matter. And then we're going to use fixed folder, and when you click that, you'll want to browse to wherever you saved this folder, and you'll want to browse to this folder. So in other words, we are going to, if I open this and go here and copy address, and let me open up Notepad, this is the path that I would have in there. Okay, it's users, desktop, capture, delete, delete. Okay, so there's my capture folder, and there's my subfolder called delete. So you'll browse to that folder and then close that window if it doesn't automatically close once you browse to that, and save our preset. That's all there is to it. Give it a name. I've named mine Clipboard, no library, and we're all good to make our captures now. So let's go through making a capture and seeing if this all came together. I'll select my Clipboard, no library. This preset should also be in the one-click now, that if you're using that. But we'll just go ahead and use the capture window here. So I have my selection. It's an image. My file is going to the subfolder in here. It won't show up in the editor. It's going to copy it to my clipboard and nothing else is going to happen. Let's make that capture. Okay, and I'll just get these mountains up here, or this mountain, or whatever it is. Okay, so we notice my capture's made. My editor did not open. And just to make sure we got that capture to our clipboard, let's just jump into Paint here. And I'll paste, and there's our capture. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and save that off as a JPEG, save it to the desktop. Okay, we're all good there. Let's close that. Okay, so we've made our capture. Let's jump into the editor now. When you open the editor, you're going to see that your capture is on your canvas, even though we just saved it to the clipboard. But this is okay. We don't have to worry about this. And if we go to our library now, and we click on Today, you'll see our capture is also in the library. You'll notice it was saved with the .snag. Okay, again, not to worry. So let's go back to the editor here. I'm going to minimize this. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to go into this folder, and you'll now see that our capture is also in that folder. And if I go ahead and delete that, okay, so now everything's empty there. All my folders are all empty. And if I go back to the editor, it's still on my canvas. But if we go to our library, you'll see that it is no longer there. Today's not even there. Okay, so it deleted it also from my library. Let me minimize that down. Let's run that through again. Okay, let's do a capture, and I'll get this little bit here. Okay, I'm going to open up Paint again real quick. We'll paste it in there. I'll save it out. Save as. And I'll just put some extra in there so it doesn't overwrite my last one. Save it, and we're all good. And there it is on the desktop. If I go into my folder, we'll see that it's there. Okay, I'm going to just close that out now. I'm going to make another capture before I go any farther. I'm just going to go ahead and make another capture. And let me just get this one here. Okay, we know it's capturing to our clipboard, so I won't bother with Paint. But let me go into the editor now. If we go to editor, you'll notice my last capture I just did is on my canvas. And if we go into the library, we only have one capture there though, and it was my last capture. And if I go into my folder here and open it up, you'll notice I only have one capture here, although I just made two captures. Okay, so let's watch this image up here. I'm in my folder. If I go ahead and delete it, yes, you'll see it disappeared from my library. And if we go back to the editor, it's still on my canvas. Okay, so first off, we've been able to make our capture to our clipboard. It didn't pop open the editor, and we were able to take it out of our library. So what's the deal with this being on our canvas? Well, Snagit's just retaining this as our last capture. It will still be here. And what's going to happen, we can make any other type of capture. Let me go in here and I'll just do a different capture. That this one saves it to my library. Matter of fact, I'll just kind of, let's capture that. Okay, and I don't know why it came in like that, but let's try that again. Okay, capture. And I'm going to go here. Okay, there we go. Now if I go here to my recents, you'll see my other one is still here, but it's not in my library. Only the one I just made, and that one that messed up on us. I don't know what happened there. Okay, but let me go back to editor. Now if I close Snagit, we're going to get a pop-up. And it's going to ask me if I want to save changes to that snag capture. Okay, I'm going to cancel. And what it's referring to is this one right here. Okay, that last capture we did to our clipboard. And of course we don't want that to be saved in our library, because if you do save this, it will now be retained in your library. We're just going to simply say no. Okay, and it's gone. It's not in our library. So that's how you can set up a preset to make a capture to the clipboard, not have the editor open. It will temporarily be in your library, but then once you delete the file out of this folder, it will be gone also out of your library. Now, let me show you how we can go through and automatically delete that image. Let Windows do the work for us, so we never have to go back to this folder and manually delete that. We're going to do that by way of a batch file and using the Windows Task Manager. Okay, to delete the file automatically from our folder, our subfolder, we're going to create a batch file. And I've already created one here, and I've put it in with my subfolder in my main folder. So wherever you save this folder at, when you create this bat file, save it to this main folder along with your subfolder. Let's take a look at how this is created. Okay, I simply have a text file open here. I've opened Notepad, and in Notepad I've put this line of code. Okay, this bit of code in here. You'll notice it says folder path here. Okay, we have to replace that with the actual path to this folder, to our subfolder. So navigate to your folder here and then open up your subfolder, which should be empty. And in the address bar here, just right click and copy address. Okay, and then we can go back to our Notepad file here, highlight where it says folder path, and then paste. So now we should have the path to our capture delete folder, which is here, and the subfolder delete. Okay, then we want to save that as a .bat file, so we'll go save as, and I'll just call this one delete .bat. Make sure you put the .bat, and where it says save as type, we want to change that to all files. If you leave it on text document, it will save it as delete.bat.text. We don't want a .text at the end of that, so all files, and go ahead and save, and I'll save it to my desktop here, and you'll see it popped up here. Okay, I've already done that, as I said earlier, which I can open this one up here. I'll open it in my text editor, and you'll see it's the same thing that we just did. Okay, and I've named this one delete files. Like I said, you can name it whatever you want. So we've created a batch file. Excuse me. We've put it in with our subfolder in our main folder. Okay, follow me so far? Okay. Now what I want to do to make sure this is working, we'll go ahead and close this for a minute here. Let's go ahead and make a capture. I'll use my Clipboard No Library, and let's move this over here for just a second, and I'll go ahead and make my capture, and we'll just get a shot of this guy here, or girl, whatever it is. Okay, and I'm going to shrink that down. Let's open up our editor. There it is. And if I go to today, there's my capture. And then I'm going to use my batch file to delete that. Okay, so if I go in here and I double click on this now, it should delete this file here, and it should delete it from my folder here. So I'll double click it. You'll see it's gone from my library and it deleted from my folder. Now if you notice it doesn't delete from the folder, if you are in here testing it, just go up here to view and refresh, and it should disappear. But it worked. Okay, so we know it works. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to set it up so that we can have Windows just click that for us. Okay, automatically do it. We'll never have to go back in here and delete that one file each time. The way we're going to do that is with task schedule. So what we want to do is go up here to your programs and run, just type in task, and then run task schedule. and you should see task scheduler pop up here. Now, if you are running Windows as a user, which I highly recommend you do instead of as an administrator, just for security reasons, you'll want to click on this, right click, and choose run as administrator. And you'll have to, of course, give it your password, your administrator password, and click yes. Okay, here we are in Task Manager. Now I've already set this up, but we're going to run through and do it again. Okay, what we need to do is just go over here. Once this opens, it should look like this. Just go here and create basic task. So we'll click on that. We'll give it a name, whatever is good for you, doesn't matter. And I'm just going to put, I'll write delete. And I do recommend that you start each word in capital. Delete Snagit. Okay. We'll go next. I want this to happen daily. We're going to set this up so at the end of the day it just deletes it. Because each time we make a new capture with our preset, it overwrites the last capture we did. So we only have to worry about deleting the one file that's in our library each day, if all this works out. So we're going to do daily. So at the end of the day, we just have Windows delete that one file. We go next, and we're going to set it up. The time that will be, we're going to do daily, reoccur every 1 day. And the time that will show up in here is what time it is now on your computer. So you can change this to whatever time you want. I would just leave today's date because this is all going to happen tomorrow. So set up what time of the day that you want this to run and click next. And then we're going to start a program. So we'll click, make sure start a program is selected, go next. And then we need to browse to that .bat file, that batch file. So I'm going to go browse here. I'm going to go on my desktop, go to that folder, which is my capture delete folder. And there's my batch file. I'm going to click on it once and open. And it should show up in here. So you see desktop, capture delete folder, delete files bat. Okay. That's all we need there. We go to next. You can give it a description here if you like, and make sure that the name you give it is there, and click finish. Okay, now we need to do one other thing so that there is no hang up, especially if you're running your computer as just a user and not as an administrator. You want to click on the task schedule library, and this should pop up here. We're going to find that task that we just set up. So let's see, delete Snagit, and I'm going to double click that. The next window that pops up, we need to make sure that if you're a user and not running your computer as an admin, that we click run whether user is logged on or not, and run with highest privileges. And it's going to click OK, and it's going to ask you to put your admin password in there because we are running this under the administration account. So go ahead and put your password in, whatever it may be, and click OK. And there you are. It's all set up. Windows should automatically, in my case here at 9:05 p.m. every day, Task Scheduler is going to basically run my bat file and delete that image. Okay, and which in turn, by deleting it from this folder, will delete it from my editor. And there again, we already touched on why it's still here on my canvas, which you can also go here and just take it out of your recents. It will ask you the same thing. Do you want to save it? I'm going to say no, and we're all set. So hope that works out for you. That's how you can set up a preset to make a capture with your clipboard, not have it show up in the editor for a preview, and also delete that capture from your library because you're just making a capture to clipboard. You want it to be a one-off and not retain a copy in the Snagit library. Take care.